always, guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. City Councilwoman LeVette Fuller is here. Miss LeVette, welcome back to Keel. Thanks for taking time for us.
Good morning.
Council voted
Hello.
Council voted to create a task force to look into police reform efforts. You're in favor of that. You had some pretty serious questions for the police chief at the end of the meeting. What are your top three?
No, let me go ahead and say this.
Okay.
I'm not really in favor of it. I'm hoping that it's effective. I voted for it, but I actually made a couple of comments then during the meeting saying that this is not the extent of what we actually need to be doing.
You sounded like an outside agency actually might need to be the one that does this.
That's absolutely what needs to happen. I think that local task force are going to do what local task force do. How many committees do we have right now in Shreveport that are pretty much the equivalent of a cake and punch?
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, we get together every month, we stare at our agenda, we do nothing in between. The time is of the essence on this, so it won't exactly be that. But I feel like this should be something that is appointed through the Public Safety Committee and that those recommendations should come swiftly.
Are you telling me that task forces, et cetera, just sweep things under the rug? Is that what you're kind of implying?
No, that's not what I'm implying. I said exactly what I meant. We've got a lot of task forces and committees that get together and they don't actually put together actionable steps, and they very rarely come back with effective solutions.
So who are you urging to come in and investigate? And do you want them
the
to do
DOJ?
A whole investigation of SPD?
Patterns and processes investigation of the entire department. And if not that, then we need an independent legal firm of some sort from outside of this area, because no one locally will be able to put aside their biases, whether they are in favor or if they are trying to confirm a bias they have as a defense, as a criminal defense attorney.
So
it has to be someone from outside.
Mm-hmm.
Just to clarify, LeVette Fuller, Shreveport City Councilwoman, thinks that the Shreveport police is in such a bad state that it needs, and outside, and in your opinion, an investigation and action taken by the United States Department of Justice.
I think that it's precious the way that you tried to not just summarize, but make a subjective comment about what I actually said. I am saying that enough is going on that we need an outside investigation, and I think that the most appropriate would be the Department of Justice.
What are
that
you?
does not mean
what
that
are
we
you?
are in that terrible of a state, but I'm thinking that if you can have two people die in custody in a 60-day period and no one from your city council knows anything about it, that's one thing that's a little bit off. But I've been looking at the leave. I'm looking at how many people are out at any given time. I'm seeing things that are not consistent with things that are effective. And I don't think that the people on the city council, I don't think people on the task force, and I don't believe that the police themselves can actually take the kind of inventory we need. Think of it more as an audit of our procedures, of our policies, of our training, of our reporting. All of that needs to be done. And it's not just the things that we're seeing right now. We have had too many families come forward, too many people from the community coming forward and saying that they are having issues with the way things are getting done and that it doesn't pass the smell test. We've got too many people that are just upset, and it goes across the board. We also are seeing that our crime numbers, when people in my district, which is a pretty mixed district, on both sides of I-49 are tired of hearing the gunshots, are feeling like the calls aren't coming in fast enough, but we need answers for why that is.
Ms. LeVette,
is there getting them from the police department as it stands? Is
there a criterion, do you know, for the Department of Justice actually taking, I'm not going to say take action, but beginning an investigation? Have you looked into that?
Ultimately, one would have to prove, typically, under this administration, the criteria tends to be hate crime, and I don't think we have that. You'd have to actually be able to prove that there are hate crimes happening, and that there's some sort of racial inconsistencies in that way. And that might change depending on what happens after the next election. Otherwise, we need to have an independent person that's external of this entire city come in and look at it. It can't be the state police. It can't be the parish. It can't be the DA.
Have you spoken to the mayor about this?
No.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned leaves a minute ago.
Wait a minute, though, but you're asking me why. You asked me that I just told you that in the last 60 days of things that have happened and we haven't known. Now, who's responsible for letting us know?
That would be the mayor.
Those things work both ways. So don't call me out about things like that if we're not going to lay it all out there.
LeVette, we're talking to Councilwoman LeVette Fuller. Let me ask you. I sent in a public...
Wait. Let me put my voice back. People are going to say that I sound angry.
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound nice again?
Breathe, yeah. I sent in a public records request. You brought it up. Police officers on leave. We're hearing a lot of officers on leave and have been there a long time. What are the numbers? How many officers are on leave? And can you distinguish?
My gosh, I can't tell you exactly how many are on leave off the top of my head, but I have been looking through it. But there's a lot. And it's not just that they're on leave, it's that they're on leave for 54 days to 100 days.
Getting
to
paid?
Over a year.
Getting paid?
And getting paid.
Can I get that gig?
That are out and getting paid.
I would like that gig.
Girl, who are you telling? We got people that are out on leave for some pretty significant issues that are being investigated from May. And are getting awards at the awards May of 2019, and are getting awards in March of 2020. Like, how are you out on leave right now for some really bad crap that happened, and you're getting a gold star?
Who are we talking about?
You'll find that out if you do a public records request and get the leave.
I've done that. I'm waiting on that, and I want to ask you something that. Have you asked on the cases of the two men who died in custody? Where are we on that? Are you worried about why this is taking so long in Caddo Parish to get something done with regard to what happens here?
I won't say that I'm worried at this point, but I'm not satisfied with a little bit that I know now, and I'm also thinking that there's some inconsistencies in things that I've been told. We were told yesterday that the 4 officers were put on leave at the end of May 26th, 27th. Okay, well, I got my first email and response. I emailed and got a response on May 27th. And when we asked after the video, remember the Channel 12 video, the cell phone video went out on that Monday. That Tuesday we had our meeting, the 9th. And so on the 8th, they were saying that, the 7th. So now we've gone from, we put them on leave the day before that video came out to, they went on leave on May 26th or 27th.
I don't know what the protocol is for being a Shreveport City Council.
And the thing is, you can go back and watch both of those videos. You can watch yesterday's council meeting, and you can watch the end of the one from 2 weeks ago, and you can see what I'm talking about for yourself.
I don't know what the protocol is for a Shreveport City Councilwoman. Are you in a position where you can just pick up the phone and call D.A. Stewart and say, hi, this is Ms. Fuller. Where are we? Have you done that? Have you thought about that?
I have thought about that, but I've been trying to patiently wait and not become a nuisance on that. Because honestly, there's other stuff going on. Like, we still have infrastructure woes and financial issues going on. But that's probably the next step, is to just ask him directly. But I did ask yesterday to see if we can find out who the investigators are from the state police that are working on this outside investigation, because I just want to know as much as we can find out.
Last time you were on sparked a little furor because you used the word defund the police.
No, you used the word defund.
Right. You didn't.
You didn't. Tried to have a real. Y'all should have a real field day with me, because what I said was reform or defund.
Right, reform.
And
or
I want
defund.
you to know that everybody that emailed me to tell me that I could move to Minneapolis, when I responded, they had a better understanding of what I was speaking about, and they decided that it was much more important to talk about the real issues than the semantics.
Let me get to that, because you did use the words. But
I said reform or defund.
Right. You're not pushing for defund at this point. You're pushing for reforms and an outside investigation.
You all are completely obsessed with the idea that we're going to have complete anarchy, and that was never what I said, and I was very clear about that.
That's not accurate.
Interview.
That's not accurate either. That's not
Go
accurate.
back and roll your tape, Aaron, baby. I've got a good memory.
Okay,
I explained
sugar.
to you all what defend means. I explained to you that it could go as far as having a new type of law enforcement, and that was not what we were doing here, and that we never intended for it to be anarchy. You can go back and listen to your own interview to understand that. Where we are right now is that there are things that we are doing that are not effective as far as the way that we fight crime. We need to quit paying for them.
That's
and
what
we
I
need
wanted.
to put
I
that
wanted
money
you to
into
explain
other
that.
things.
That's what I wanted you to explain.
Well,
The
then let me
focus.
explain it instead of interrupting.
No, the focus of your effort is you want to find reforms, but if we don't get there, you're willing to go to defund. Is that kind of what you're saying, or no?
What I'm saying is that what we're doing and what we're paying for is not working, that money can go to fund the things that will work. So if you have been doing community policing for X amount of years, but you're still having the same issues and there's been no change, no alteration in the way those things work, then why are we funding a community policing department? We can put those people back on the street in patrol units.
Ms. LeVette, I would assume...
If your narcotics group is 35 officers that wear masks and don't wear badges, and we don't know who they are, and basically what we're hearing is that they're kicking the you-know-what out of people, and if they don't even work a full 8 hours every day, then we should put them back on the street because that's a whole day shift, and we can put that money into the investigation.
I would assume that you have discussed...
The independent police monitor, it gets 0.01% of the entire general operating budget of New Orleans. If we need an independent police monitor, then we've got to figure out how we're going to fund that.
I would assume you have discussed the topics you've discussed this morning with other members of the council. Do you and they collectively have a time frame in mind?
Are you sure that I have? As I think that if you see how people are voting for bumper stickers and how they're kind of keen to vote for the police to continue to monitor themselves, you would see that there's probably some distance between where I am and where they are. Wouldn't you say? Yesterday they voted for Green. Okay, 2 weeks ago, Green said, let's do bumper stickers and urge the police to go back and review all their policies and procedures. That was a vote that passed 5-2 with like 60-something constituents saying, please don't do this. It's putting a Band-Aid on a gushing wound.
So let me try it again. In LeVette Fuller's...
Green came back yesterday with another urging the police policy to review their policies and procedures. And I voted no, and John Nicholson voted no, but 5 others voted yes, even though it's obvious that an internal review is not what we need. So what do you think about how much I'm communicating with my council colleagues?
So my question was, once again, you've discussed this with other members, what time frame...
Asked and answered. I just told you that there's clearly no way that I'm discussing this with them when we can't see eye to eye on how to handle this based on how they're voting on the legislation, Robert. They're voting to continue to do status quo when given an opportunity to do something different. Why would I be talking to them about it instead of having this conversation with you right now?
Are they going to put you on the task force? Have you asked?
I hope everyone's really taking in what I'm saying on the radio right now. There's a reason I sound like I do.
We are. Are they going to put you on the task force? Have you asked to be on that task force?
It's supposed to be a community task force.
But aren't there going to be? Didn't I see there would be 2 or 3 council members on it as well?
We'll see what happens. But for me right now, I'm still doing my homework on the things that we need to do to get an independent investigation outside of that. And that's taken a lot of time. Like I've actually been digging through a lot of stuff to understand how we've gotten to where we are right now. And yeah, it does burn my toast that we can have as many of our constituents saying to us that we are not doing what they're asking us to do and that what they are asking us to do is completely logical. It absolutely burns my toast if they are not listening to their constituents. Because the truth is, the constituents are right on this. We do not need our police to be reviewing their policies. The chief already does that. He signs every single general order before it goes into the file. Y'all know that we need to have somebody else looking at this stuff if we want it to get improved. Y'all know it and I know it. I think I have a right to be a little irritated, a lot irritated about that.